Hey y'all. So I have been on this journey to strengthen my core, and I have incorporated a Pilates practice into my routine and have been consistently doing Pilates now for the last 6 months. And I'm really, really proud of myself about that. However, for the last, I say, 2 weeks now, I have had some of the worst back pain that I have ever experienced in my life. Even back spasms, which that's been new for me. Um, and I believe that part of the issue has been the fact that I hadn't really been stretching. Even though Pilates does incorporate stretching, I had not participated in like a regular stretch routine, which is something that I used to do regularly. And so, with all of the pain that I have been having, I have been doing some of everything to get rid of the pain. Of course, the heat and the ice. I've been taking ibuprofen for inflammation. I've been doing Epsom salt baths. I have gotten back to stretching. I've been walking. Um, and recently, I went to go see a massage therapist. And the first massage therapist that I went to go see, I was letting them know that I really felt like the pain that I was experiencing my low back because it's been primarily my right low back where I've been feeling this pain. And for those people who may not know, I'm also a licensed massage therapist, and I've been a massage therapist for 20 plus years. So when I go and I see other massage therapists, it's really easy for me to communicate what I feel like may be going on in my body. And so when I went to see this therapist, I was like, my QL or my quadratus lumborum, which is one of like the lower back muscles, is really bothering me, and I feel like that's the problem. And so I got some great work done by that therapist. And they told me, make sure you take some ibuprofen or do something tomorrow because you're probably going to hurt. And so I didn't feel it that next day, but the day after that, I could barely move. And so I went to go see another massage therapist um, several days after that and had some more work done. And when I was communicating with this therapist, I was like, I feel like it's my QL, but I also feel like my erector spinae is involved. Your erector muscles, for anybody who doesn't know, are like two long muscles that run alongside of the spine. They help to keep you standing up straight. And so I was like, I know my erectors are probably involved because I could feel like every time the therapist was like working in a particular area, I was like, ooh, yeah, they are involved. And so in my massage therapist mind, and I'm going through all of the muscles that can be involved. And I was like, I know for a fact that my psoas muscle is probably involved. And this muscle, um, for anybody who's not familiar with the psoas muscle, it is usually involved when there is some type of low back pain. However, because it is a deep and internal core muscle, it's really challenging to like work the psoas muscle. Um, and it's also challenging because it's in such close proximity to, nerves and arteries and, major vessels and things like that. So it also makes it really precarious to try to work the psoas muscle. But like I said, I've been a massage therapist rather for 20 plus years. And so I'm aware of how to work the psoas muscle to relieve back pain. And I've actually done that for clients before. So I'm like, okay, man, if there's some way that I can just access my psoas muscle, I feel like, I might be able to work out some of this pain. And I knew my psoas was involved because even though I couldn't necessarily feel it in my back, I could feel it in my abdomen, like in my hip area, like without movement, I felt an ache. And I knew it had come from all those bridges in those Pilates classes, all that spine articulation, like my psoas was tight. So I went on this deep dive trying to understand more about like how to relieve my psoas muscle because like I said, I was having spasms. It's been difficult to get out of bed, to change position from like sitting to standing. It's been really challenging. So, one of the ways that I have always liked to work as a massage therapist or a bodywork practitioner, really when it comes to holistic medicine, period, because aside from being a nurse, um, I also consider myself to be like a holistic practitioner, and that's the way that I treat myself. And so when I look at healing from that perspective, I try to address all of the bodies. So, emotional body, physical body, mental body, spiritual body, like what's going on all the different levels so that we can incorporate everything to inspire healing. So, like I said, went on this deep dive into the psoas and I was looking up like emotional and spiritual connection of the psoas muscle. And man, my mind is blown. um just one, what I've learned about the psoas, and then just its importance in our bodies and in our lives and how much it affects. So for just to kind of give you a visual of what this muscle looks like, it originates at the 12th thoracic vertebrae and it attaches to the lesser trochanter of the femur. I know that's a lot, but if you could imagine like these two rubber bands on both sides of the spine, that's responsible for keeping you upright. It's responsible for keeping you stable. Like literally, your psoas muscles connect the top half of your body to the bottom half of your body. You cannot stand upright. You can't walk. You can't bring knees to chest if your psoas muscles are not working properly. Also, what I came to find out is that they call this muscle um the muscle of the soul. The reason why is because this muscle, because of its relationship, its proximity to the sympathetic nervous system, it's also the fight or flight muscle. So, um, when our psoas muscles get triggered, a lot of times it's emotional because they store trauma. So I have to add this piece because I have been experiencing some things that have triggered my fight or flight response. I've been experiencing a lot of chronic stress, um, and feelings of threatened stability. I'll say that much. And so I'm aware of the fact that, oh, like what I'm experiencing right now is deeply emotional. The spasms that I'm experiencing in my psoas are coming from trauma that has not been addressed, or trauma that has been triggered or reawakened. And this also has me thinking about how the psoas muscle relates to fertility, because of course we don't always bring it back around to fertility. And because of the way the psoas sits, so to give you another visual, the psoas muscles act as shells, so to speak, and hold up our visceral organs, our internal organs. So like your uterus is sitting on top of your psoas muscles. As a matter of fact, when a baby is getting ready to descend to the birth canal, the psoas muscles act as I heard it called kind of like a runway for the baby to descend into the canal. And so one of the things that I learned that's extremely important to mention is that a tight psoas muscle or psoas muscles can impact fertility and a person's ability to conceive. Because again, I mentioned that the psoas muscles um, are in proximity to nerves and arteries and blood vessels and things like that. So when we have tight psoas muscles, it can reduce the blood flow to the uterus as well as to the ovaries, which in turn can impact fertility. Also, it's really important, I think, for anybody who's on a preconception journey to start working on those psoas muscles. Now, when I say working on them, I don't necessarily mean like just doing anything physical, but like really addressing what kind of traumas you may be holding on to that may not be making themselves apparent in the moment. But I'm saying this because birth is a purge, and when it is time to give birth, um all types of things will come up. People vomit during birth, people have bowel movements during birth, but also emotions come to the surface during birth. And because we store a lot of trauma in our psoas muscles, our hip flexors, it can also make birth difficult when our hip flexors are too tight, when there's too much constriction, and when there is not the ability to surrender, which is one of my favorite words when we're talking about birth. Because again, the body has to be able to let go. And if y- people are in perpetual states of fight or flight or chronic stress, it's going to impact the whole process. It's going to impact preconception. It's going to impact pregnancy. It's going to impact birth. So, I know I've said a lot about this muscle. Like, I am so inspired right now to learn more. I literally have read two books within the last 48 hours. They were short books, but two books about the psoas muscle because, again, like my mind is so blown. But again, for anybody who's on this preconception journey, yeah, spend some time with your psoas. Learn a little bit more about it. Learn how to release it and let it go because it could make a difference in your ability to conceive the pregnancy that you want.